You know what's the exact opposite of an ICE detention center? A pride parade. The exact and total existential opposite. It is an incredibly simple, even innocuous act, picking a flower, giving it to someone. It's so basic, we don't tend to think much of it most of the time. It's a common human thing. In our culture, it's almost universally recognized as a gift of friendship or love. We give flowers when a loved one dies. We give flowers as hosting gifts. We bring flowers to church and put them up front in the table and the altars and stuff on Sundays. We give flowers to say, I love you, to moms and dads and parents and friends and lovers. Reverend Capek's little ritual is a work of genius, masterwork of religious ceremony. We ritualize a very common gesture and include everyone in it. Everyone gets a flower. Everyone is a flower. We are the gardeners and we are the beauty of the garden. No big words, no big commotion, a little beauty, a little nature, a little sharing, a little love passed from one person to another. And yet, this simple ceremony, this personal and communal ritual, is the actual antidote to animosity and the weapon that wipes out evil. It's as important today as it was in 1923 when Norbert Capek started it, and in 1943 when he died. And for the same reasons it was then. We live in a time and among people, some of them our own family and neighbors, who would mow the flowers down in the field without a thought. But we will not. It's important that we be caretakers of those flowers, gardeners, sowers of their seeds, and that we do this intentionally and openly and freely whenever we get the chance and as often as we can. For flowers are a weapon of mass destruction to the forces of dehumanization and evil and injustice. Color, fragrance, beauty, kindness. This is the love and light that darkness cannot understand and cannot overcome. You may have been keeping track recently of what's been going on in Danbury. ICE has been very active in Danbury. A little over a week ago, I spent an afternoon on duty at the courthouse watching. We needed to warn people of their presence. 5 people were abducted that day. This past week, a parent was ripped from a car, leaving a toddler, a little child, in the car for an hour and a half in 90-degree humidity, and ICE wouldn't let anyone tend to its needs. What kind of a person do you have to be to treat a baby like that? I'm not sure that person would understand a flower if you gave him a bouquet. That's the same kind of person who sent millions of people to death camps because of their religion. And you may have heard the word concentration camp being used about ICE detention centers. And I want to remind you that that's not an exaggeration. That's not dramatic. This is part of the 4th letter from the Delaney Hall prisoners, letter that was made public on May 29th. Through this letter, we will provide an account of the events that have taken place since the 22nd of May, when our hunger strike began at Delaney Hall. where people detained have all voluntarily stopped working and assisting with facility operations. Since the strike began, we have been subjected to reprisals, discrimination, mockery, mistreatment, and threats. They constantly threaten to deport us, transfer us to punishment units, and move us from one center to another. They take photos of us without our consent and tell us that we have no rights here. Through these threats, they are trying to force us to work in all areas of the facility, including cleaning, kitchen, maintenance, laundry, and floor polishing. They are trying to force us to go down for meals by making us sign a list so they can track who goes to the meal and who doesn't, in order to punish those who refuse to eat. On May 25th, we were gathered in the common room, and the facility's director and administrator spoke with us, and they wanted to identify the leaders of the hunger strike. And they were upset and angry when we told them there is no leader. This strike is a collective effort. That's when they took retaliatory action against the young man who was identified to help with the translation. That's why the staff tried to take him away in handcuffs, and we peaceably blocked their path with our hands raised. In return, we received beatings and pepper spray. They've restricted our access to tablets, visits, and the common room. We are all psychologically impacted and are plagued by the fear they might carry out threats for no reason at all. Judges, without checking our cases, order expulsion in 2 or 3 hearings, either to the country of origin or to some third country. 95% of bond hearings are denied, claiming we're a flight risk, even though we're all here in jail. We could be released, even if it means being under supervision, required to report in or wear an ankle monitor. The conditions in this prison are not fit for human beings over such a long period of time. Neglect, no medical care, water unfit for consumption, food past expiration date and in poor condition, bathrooms that are unusable, and ventilation systems that are not maintained, and we are all constantly sick. We demand freedom. We do not want better conditions. We want freedom, a fair trial, and our rights to be respected. How could the concentration camps happen? Well, they're happening right now in New Jersey, in Louisiana, in Southern California, in Texas, in Manchester, New Hampshire, in Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. The same exact way they happened in Norbert Capek's time. They are not in every town. Terezín in Czechoslovakia had one in Capek's day. There is in Stat, but you could live in Prague at that time and not know it existed. Well, what was happening there? You might even run into people in the street who said all the whispers of the atrocities were just being overdramatic. You might have had neighbors in Capek's Prague who were just going about their lives, trying to survive in wartime in a horrible economy with high prices, shortages of goods and services, and just trying to take care of children and aging parents and keep their job because there weren't many jobs to be had, even at a horrible wage. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, that's how it happens. Norbert Capek kept telling his congregation what was going on, even with the SS sitting in the back row, Sunday after Sunday, trying to intimidate worshipers from attending and succeeding. But he kept talking about it, and he kept passing out flowers. He kept passing out the flowers. It's a model. It's a weapon of choice. Tell the truth. Sow the seeds of beauty and fragrance amid the chaos. I watched ICE drive around Danbury. I've watched them take people away from Danbury. I've talked to the people who are the families of the people they've taken away. And that's rough. But you know what I did last week? I went to Pride Parade. You know what's the exact opposite of an ICE detention center? A Pride Parade. The exact and total existential opposite. I marched in the Middletown Pride Parade with the Meriden congregation, And boy, the reception I got with my clergy collar and my little rainbow flag, passing out flowers and rainbow flags as we walked down the street. And I saw smiles and laughter and dancing. I saw people of every color, of every possible gender expression, of every different kind of clothing you could imagine, and some you couldn't. Reveling, laughing. Everyone was each other's family. No one even gave a hard time to the 4 guys in camo shirts and masks over their face, holding signs telling us everyone was evil and going to hell. Even those jokers were included in the party because they had no power there. Their power had been destroyed upon arrival by the love, the colors, the laughter, the beauty, the community. They weren't defeated by others. They brought their own defeat with them by refusing to participate in a community in which they would have been readily accepted. They would have been included in the joy if they had just asked to be. And still they didn't want to. They would have been welcome, and they kept themselves away. There is a cure for whatever is going wrong right now. It is symbolized in something as simple as a flower and a color and a gesture of gift and love to someone else. As awful as it seems, and you may not believe this, but that's all it really takes, over and over and over again, even to those who would do the harm. The power of sowing seeds of beauty and love is beyond comprehension. It is ours. It is amazing. Keep doing it. We will win. Check out my website and blog at tonylorenzen.com for even more resources that will open your mind, touch your heart, and inspire your spirit.